Have you ever noticed that there are no good Christmas games? We have a plethora of Christmas songs to sing along to, and movies to watch again for the 100th time.
Home Alone again? Yeah!
But when it comes to video games, we don't have a lot to choose from. Sure, there are games set during Christmas or include Christmas characters, but none of them actually capture the spirit of the holidays. It feels like developers use the festive season simply because of how recognizable it is. They don't have to include it, but they know that it will appeal to a lot of people and they use that to their advantage. In my opinion, I think to make the best Christmas game, you need 3 core fundamentals. 1. Make it actually about Christmas. Don't just use it as a time period to set the game in. Make it about the holiday itself. 2. Keep the Christmas spirit alive all the way through. Keep elements of the holiday from start to finish, whether this be missions, costumes, weapons, etc. Do not forget about it. 3. Make it fun. Give me something exciting, let me throw snowballs, let me ride in Santa's sleigh. Don't just make it like Death Stranding but with Christmas presents. That's boring. Much like the game itself. Most Christmas video games only do 1 or 2 of those 3 fundamentals. They don't show the festive joy that Christmas can bring or why it means so much to people. But there's bound to be one, right? Maybe there was a perfect Christmas game that we all overlooked. A game that perfectly sums up why so many people find happiness and warmth in the most wonderful time of the year. Well, that's what we're here to find out. I have selected a number of games that have Christmas elements to them. We'll be analysing each one thoroughly to see how well they stick to the previously established fundamentals, and ultimately be crowned the best Christmas video game. So I think we should start by a great game by its own merit. It's based on one of my favourite characters of all time, developed by an amazing studio, it's published by one of the biggest names in the industry right now, and it also generated one of the greatest GameSpot moments of all time.
The way he leaps off of rooftops and flips backwards to face the camera before falling into a headfirst dive is just full of the exaggerated swagger of a black teen. It gives me goosebumps every time he does.
Spider-Man Miles Morales, the follow-up but not sequel to the greatest superhero game of all time. Don't even bother atting me, I'm right, you're wrong! The game sees Miles attempting to stop a street war between the big bad corporation Roxxon and cyberpunk rejects The Underground, who are led by the mysterious Tinkerer. The entire game takes place over the Christmas holidays, which looks just absolutely incredible. The entire map is littered with snow, the winter skyboxes are gorgeous, and you see Christmas decorations everywhere you look, which are especially stunning during the night. The festive theme is also prominent in the NPCs, who are fitted with warm winter clothes. Even Miles gets his own winter themed suit, leg warmers and all. There's no doubt that the city has the Christmas feeling down to a T, but how about the game's story? Well, Miles Morales' story does have 2 great scenes that I think perfectly capture the Christmas spirit. The first is the scene where Miles, Ganke, Rio, and Finn Mason, the game's not at all obvious main villain, are having Christmas dinner. As the scene played out where the characters are sat at the table, I just had this big old smile on my face. It gave off such warm and cozy vibes seeing these characters laugh together and enjoy each other's company, before everything goes to shit in the later missions. I think the main thing that helps this scene achieve this is the lighting. Just look at Miles' apartment. Look how inviting and warm the lights make it. I want to have Christmas there. And that Christmas tree is just mwah, mwah, chef's kiss. The second scene I want to highlight is the scene where Miles and Ganke are walking through the Christmas fair on their way to Rio's campaign rally. There's not really a lot to do besides from interact with a few NPCs, but the atmosphere more than makes up for it. It reminded me a lot of the Christmas markets I've been to. Stalls selling trinkets, tons of food and drink, they're always great experiences, and this one was no different. So yeah, there's some great Christmassy moments, and I think out of all the games we're going to talk about, this is the one that does it the best. But I would have loved more. I felt that after Miles makes his classic suit, the game just forgets that it's set around Christmas, in order to focus more on the conflict between Miles and the Tinkerer. But come on, there were some good moments. I wanted more of those. Ah well, at least the game is an absolute blast to play. Combat is great, the stealth is better than the first game, missions are fun, the suits are cool, and the web swinging is always a delight. Overall, Miles Morales does 2 of the 3 fundamentals really well. It has scenes that are oozing with that Christmas spirit and is a ton of fun from start to finish. However, the game isn't about Christmas. It's a Spider-Man story set during Christmas, which isn't what we're looking for. Still, I would definitely recommend this to play over the holidays if you're looking to do whatever a spider can. Let's keep this superhero Christmas theme going with our next entry, and take a visit to the least crime-filled fictional city of all time. Gotham City. Arkham Origins, the black sheep of the critically acclaimed Arkham franchise. Often regarded as the weakest entry in the series, the game takes place on Christmas Eve, as the Caped Crusader must stop crime lord Black Mask, whilst dodging the corrupt officers of the GCPD and 8 deadly assassins who are after a bounty placed on Batman's head. Much like the masses, I too never really gelled with Arkham Origins. Unlike the other entries that I fully completed, I never cared enough to do the same for this one. So imagine my surprise when I found myself having a lot of fun. I would find myself deviating from the main story quite often. Every time a new side activity came up or I stumbled across a Enigma collectible along the way, I decided to stop what I was doing and focus my attention on that. And then there's the classic Arkham gameplay, which is just the cherry on the top. It doesn't really do anything new and retains most of the core gameplay aspects from its predecessor Arkham City, but I see that as a good thing. The gameplay for this franchise really peaked in City, and the developers WB Montreal understood that changing anything about it would not sit well with fans. However, they did add some new stuff, which is quite hit or miss. The shock gloves are brutal, and the remote claw is a fun gadget to mess around with. But other new additions like the concussion grenade are just useless. 12 years later, and I still don't understand this gadget at all. I think the weakest aspect ultimately is the story. I've always felt that after the Joker gets arrested the first time, the story just takes a nosedive in quality. The scenes that follow just feel stitched together like some Frankenstein monster. Batman figures out that Bane knows he's Bruce Wayne, then he goes to fight Firefly, then he hurries back to the Batcave to save Alfred because he's in the other 3 games, then he goes to stop Joker who has escaped and caused a riot, fight Bane one more time, beat Joker, cut to credits. What the hell was that? The stuff with Batman meeting the Joker and the 8 assassins was really interesting, but gets ultimately forgotten and left to the wayside. But I'll tell you one thing, it's a lot better than Mr. I'm definitely not who you think I am from Arkham Knight.
What a twist!
Despite narrative shortcomings, Arkham Origins is an absolute blast and incredibly enjoyable. But does it capture the Christmas spirit? Yes and no. For starters, the world is gorgeous. I think design-wise, this might even be better than Miles Morales' open world. The gothic architecture and heavy snowfall really makes it feel quite magical. Not to mention all the Christmas decorations in between the buildings, NPCs and characters wearing Christmas-themed clothing, and the open world score blending exceptional Batman music and iconic Christmas bells makes everything about this world feel festive but dangerous. However, much like Miles Morales, the game isn't about Christmas. It's a Batman story set during Christmas, and doesn't really do anything with that besides make the open world look unique. In fact, I completely forgot that this game took place on Christmas Eve until halfway through it when Alfred wished Batman a Merry Christmas. Thank you, Alfred, for reminding me why I was playing this game in the first place. What a nice guy. Arkham Origins successfully has 2 out of the 3 fundamentals. It's an incredibly enjoyable experience with brilliant, fun gameplay that will have you addicted from start to finish. Gotham City is littered with a buttload of Christmas stuff, and pair that with Batman's gothic art design creates an open world that is nothing short of unique. It just doesn't focus on Christmas as a holiday, and instead uses it as a setting to place Batman in. Nothing wrong with that, I had a good time with this one. But again, it's not what we're looking for. Alright, we've had some good stuff so far. I'm excited to see what's next. Okay, what have we got here? Well, it's been fun, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you around. Alright, let's get this over with. Dead Rising 4. Yay! Out of all of the games that I selected for this video, this was the one I was least looking forward to. A game that killed a franchise, removed every feature from the previous entries, and whose fanbase has labelled it as nothing but a fever dream, is unfortunately set during Christmas. And now we have to talk about it. Oh, what fun. Dead Rising 4 sees the lovable arsehole Frank West return to take on a new zombie horde. Frank is called back to the place that started it all, Willamette, Colorado, to uncover a new mystery and find those responsible for this new zombie outbreak. Okay, so if it isn't clear already, no, I don't like this game. And after playing it again for this video, I still don't like it. As I was trudging through it, I tried to nail down exactly what it was about this game that makes my blood boil. And after about 8 hours with it, I think I finally have it nailed down.
The game is not fun.
Just the act of killing zombies doesn't feel as satisfying as it did in the previous entries, and I think that's largely to do with how powerful you can become. Even without any upgrades, you can easily survive a massive horde of the undead with barely so much as a paper cut. You're practically... You could still be quite powerful in the previous games, but there was always a lingering feeling like one wrong decision could severely impact you. You weren't a fucking superhero, you were just a regular guy. It kind of reminded me a bit of Saints Row the Third, where the game gave you so many powerful upgrades that you become before you even unlock the upgrade that makes you.
He did the same joke about 3 times already. I don't think it's funny anymore.
There are so many things about this game that piss me off to no end, and quite frankly, I don't want this video to go on for way too long, so here's a quick fire collection of things I cannot stand about this game. If you're looking to kick back and have fun slaying some zombies, I can recommend other games for you to play over this any day of the week. Okay, pushing aside my biases and general thoughts on the game, how well does Dead Rising 4 incorporate Christmas into it? Honestly, really well. For starters, the mall. Christmas decorations are hung up from the ceiling, lights are wrapped around the pillars, and there's a lot of Christmas themed outfits to dress Frank up in. Some weapons are also Christmas themed, like the electric wreath, or one of my favourites, Deck the Halls. However, the music has to be the best part. Whenever you go to the game's menus or drive a car, you'll be treated to some incredibly festive music that will get you in the holiday spirit. But whilst all that Christmassy stuff is great, overall Dead Rising 4 only successfully does one of the 3 fundamentals. The Christmas spirit is alive in this game all the way to the end, and the developers took full advantage of the setting. But the game is nothing but a pain to play. When I feel like powering through the game to end my suffering, I know that it's failed to entertain me. As soon as the credits rolled, I breathed a sigh of relief and said out loud,
Thank fuck that's over.
"That's not good." And much like Miles Morales and Arkham Origins, the game isn't about Christmas. It's a Dead Rising game set at Christmas. Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here. I think we need to change things up here. We need to find games that are actually about the holiday. But where do we start? Is there a genre we need to look at, or... I've got it. Movie tie-in games. They're the best kind of games. Let's start with an oldie, The Grinch for PS1. Developed by Artificial Mind and Movement and published by the greedy company who gave us the best E3 conference of all time, Extreme. The game is loosely based off of the iconic Jim Carrey film. It follows the Grinch and his sidekick dog Max, who are, what else, planning to steal the Who's Christmas presents. After the Grinch tries to climb his pyramid of cardboard boxes, okay, yeah, sure, why not? He slips and the blueprints get swept away by the unforgiving wind. The Grinch and a reluctant Max venture off to Wholand to get back the plans so he can finally steal Christmas. So let's get this out of the way. This game 100% focuses on Christmas. I mean, it's a game about the Grinch, for crying out loud. What were you expecting? And considering it's a game about the hairy green weirdo who lives in a cave, you can bet that there's Christmas stuff everywhere in this game. Well, kind of. The game has 4 hub worlds in total. You start off with the iconic Whoville, a festive town caked in snow with NPCs dressed in winter attire and chucking snowballs at you any chance they get. The second hub world, Who Forest, is also a winter wonderland. Snow is once again covering the ground, cozy cabins are dotted around the map, and it even has Rudolph's reject cousin? What the hell am I looking at here? But when you get to the third and fourth hub world, the Christmas element has strangely vanished. The aptly named dump is, well, a dump.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
And Hoo Lake looks a lot more catered to autumn than Christmas. However, the Christmas elements aren't completely absent all throughout. One of the main collectibles in the game is Christmas presents, and you can find a lot of them scattered around each level. 3,000 to be precise.
That's too much, man!
So far so good. The Grinch puts the Christmas holiday front and centre of the game, and the levels have that Christmas feeling down to a T. But this is a game we're talking about. It needs to be fun above everything else. The Grinch is not fun. Whilst it's not on par with, say, Bubsy 3D, The Quiet Man, or I'm in Love with Your Dead Grandmother, the way the Grinch has been designed quickly sucks out any fun factor within its first 30 minutes. Let me boil down the core gameplay loop of the Grinch. You go to a hub world, get given a vague list of missions to complete, aimlessly walk around the map figuring out what to do, collect some presents, run away from a needy small child, get assaulted by hostile NPCs, finally figure out what to do, collect some blueprints, go back to the Grinch's hideout, make a gadget, go to the next hub world, rinse, repeat. I think the Grinch perfectly sums up my thoughts about the game here.
Ouch! It's unbearable!
It's one of those games that feels somewhat fun within the first hour or two, but that feeling slowly dissipates when you realise that this is it until you get to the credits. The Grinch successfully does 2 out of the 3 fundamentals. It's about Christmas, and it has Christmas elements all throughout, despite some levels not featuring it enough. However, I was frustrated with this game, and after the first 2 hours I could feel myself getting very bored. The most sinful thing a game can do. Okay, let's look at another movie tie-in game. One that features a film that is not only a Christmas classic, but a Halloween classic too. The Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge. A Devil May Cry hack and slash game that was developed by, oh, well, that makes sense. Set after the events of the film, it sees the iconic Jack Skellington back in action, as he defends Halloween Town from the evil Oogie Boogie, who somehow has returned from the dead.
Somehow Oogie Boogie returned.
Armed with a green whip thing called a Soul Robber, Jack must restore order to Halloween Town and its neighbouring holidays, save the ghoulish residents, and stop Oogie once and for all. Considering how this game is based off of one of the best Christmas films of all time, you'd think that Christmas would be plastered everywhere in this game, right? Well, if you said yes, then you're surprisingly wrong. The game barely features the holiday, which is extremely baffling. Roughly 85% of the game will have you wandering around various parts of Halloween Town and its surrounding areas. The only time you go to Christmas Town? The last 3 levels. And to make matters worse, you have to endure 21 chapters out of 24 to finally get to the Christmas part of this Christmas game based off of a Christmas film. I don't know about you, but I feel like I've just been scammed. I mean, don't get me wrong, the levels expertly adapt the film's art style to a T, and even have some familiar musical numbers any fan would recognise, but the developers were really teasing us with the Christmas Town sections. The game also isn't about Christmas. It's about Oogie Boogie's revenge on Jack and Halloween Town, and then he just decides, fuck it, I'll go and kidnap Santa now. Christmas doesn't appear in the game until that point, and that's quite disappointing. Okay, so this isn't looking good, but there is one fundamental left. The fun factor. Is the gameplay fun enough for us to give it some form of praise? No. It's not borderline unplayable, but it also suffers from a big issue that I think ruins the overall gameplay. It's just boring. When you think of hack and slash, you think of fast-paced action where you can unleash devastating combos that make you feel so badass. Oogie's Revenge is like the senior citizen version of that. Jack runs like he's suffering from arthritis, with his attacks feeling more like a light slap than a devastating blow to the face. The enemies are also extremely frustrating. Some enemies will manage to hit you with their attacks even if you're a respectable distance away from them, whereas others will deliberately run away from you so your attacks can't reach them, and next thing you know, you're playing an unbearable game of cat and mouse.
Why are you fucking with me? Why are you fucking with me? Why are you fucking with me?
And whilst we're on the topic of your attacks not reaching enemies, I felt like I had to get very close to them in order for my attacks to land. If I was even 1 centimeter away from them, the Soul Robber would not be able to reach them, and I'd just be slapping the air. I feel like the combat could have benefited from a limited ranged attack mechanic, but instead we get Grandpa Jack hobbling over to whack some ghoulies in the face. Oogie's Revenge really surprised me. Not because it was a bog standard movie tie-in game, Stevie Wonder could have seen that coming, but that it doesn't do any of the 3 fundamentals well. Dead Rising 4 did more Christmassy things right than this game. What kind of dark timeline are we living in? Maybe looking at movie tie-in games was a mistake. Maybe we have to look elsewhere for answers. What about a different genre? I mean, so far we've just been looking at platformers or action games, so why don't we try something different? Okay, which one should we pick? RPG? No, there's barely any Christmas games there. Strategy games? No, don't be stupid. Oh, what else we got? We got action adventure, we got... I've got it. Horror. Because that just screams Christmas, doesn't it? I'm starting to think that this might be a bad idea. This is Tattletale, a mascot horror game set during the Christmas holidays. You play as a small child who is excited to open their Christmas presents. So excited that they open it 5 whole days before Christmas. Well, my parents would have cancelled Christmas if I did that. Their present turns out to be the hottest new bit of plastic on the market, a baby talking tattletale. Basically, think of an oversized Furby with a 1,000-yard stare. Over the next 5 nights, you must solve a few puzzles and tend to your tattletale by feeding it, grooming it, and charging its battery. All the while, Mama Tattletale is hot on your tail and will jump scare you if you make too much noise. Out of all the games for this video, Tattletale surprisingly provided me with the most warmth. The house is surprisingly cozy, and seeing all of the Christmas decor strewn around the house took me back to Christmas at my own parents' house when I was a wee lad. I also found myself really enjoying the gameplay too. Aside from a few frustrating moments, especially when this little shit wouldn't shut up when he needed his midnight snack, it's very tense. At certain points in the chapter, Mama will be on the prowl, stalking you from the shadows. The only way to get her off your back is to be as quiet as possible. Sounds easy, right? That is until you realise that every single action that you can make in this game generates noise. Running, shaking your flashlight on, smashing objects, and even Tattletale itself all generate loud noise that can give away your position to Mama. It's very nerve-wracking not knowing where Mama is, and constantly having to debate whether or not making noise is worth it. It's a huge gamble at times and could mean the difference between progressing or restarting, and I really liked it. So there's just one last fundamental to tick off. Does the game focus on Christmas? And honestly, I'm a bit torn here. Yes, it's set at Christmas and focuses on your character and their Christmas present, but it's not actually about the holiday. Remember what we said at the beginning of the video. Make it actually about Christmas. Don't just use it as a time period to set the game in. Make it about the holiday itself. So, with that being said, Tattletale does 2 out of the 3 fundamentals. It was a strong contender and only slightly missed out. It just needed to focus more on the holiday. Oh well, I would still recommend this one if you haven't played it. Okay, I've got one more horror game we can try, but before we do that, I'm just gonna get this out. Because if this game doesn't do what I want it to do, I'm gonna Kurt Cobain myself. Right, let's do this. Crimson Snow. Another horror game, and hopefully the last game that will put an end to this godforsaken nightmare that is a YouTube video. Set during the holidays, you play as some dude called Mark.
Oh, hi Mark.
Mark is waiting for his girlfriend Joyce to get back for Christmas, but surprise, she's already home, and invites Mark over to see her. With the promise of Snoo Snoo on the horizon, Mark ventures over but gets caught in a blizzard and transported to a spoopy, dilapidated house. Trapped in the house with a hot, promiscuous vampire lady? Wait, why am I running away from her again? Mark must find a way to escape the House of Horrors, avoid the strangely attractive monster, and get to Joyce's in time to get lucky. In terms of gameplay, Crimson Snow has a lot of horror game staples. You hide from the monster in very obvious places, solve some puzzles, have no way to fight back until later, and of course, you're too fat to run away. That last mechanic is especially frustrating in this game. As soon as the monster sees you, there's no point even attempting an escape. You won't be able to outrun her and she'll reward you with a jump scare and a game over. However, you can easily cheat this as soon as you realise that the monster always follows the same path. As soon as you discover this, you can use it to your advantage and get quite close to her without her noticing. Then you go to a hiding spot, wait for her to go past, and carry on. This game is so on the rails, I mistook it for House of the Dead for a second. But I will give it some points. Sometimes the game managed to get me with some well-timed jump scares, which is quite rare for me with horror games. Because I'm fucking hard as nails. And graphically, I think it looks pretty great for an indie game, especially when it comes to the lighting. Just look at that Christmas tree, it's gorgeous. Oh yeah, Christmas stuff. It's there from beginning to end. Decorations and lights everywhere, presents appearing, Jack Frost causing chaos outside. It's very Christmassy despite the circumstances. The developers also implement the decorations into the gameplay too. The monster will set traps like putting baubles down on the floor that when stood on alert them to your location. I can definitely appreciate the creativity there. I think Crimson Snow is surprisingly good. It's a short, simple horror game that provides you with a spooky experience topped off with a Christmas setting. Yeah, the gameplay is basic and it's not pulse-pounding horror, but it's pretty decent overall. As for fundamentals, well, let's see, it's decent to play, has Christmas stuff from beginning to end, but it's not about Christmas itself, and oh look, we're back to the drawing board. So I think it's safe to say, it's quite hard to make a good Christmas game. And I guess that's it, right? We've looked at 7 different games, each from different genres, that at least do one fundamental. Well, apart from one in particular, but maybe no Christmas game can pull off all 3. Maybe the idea of a Christmas game that perfectly captures the spirit of the holidays whilst also being a fun time and full of Christmas spunk is just a myth. I don't think so. I mean, if you look down on the YouTube video, you can see that we have a couple more minutes left, so we're not quite done yet. There is one more game that we haven't talked about yet that I think is the ultimate Christmas game. It's a game that does everything that we're looking for absolutely perfectly. And what's most surprising is, and I can't believe I'm saying this, it's not even a full game. It's DLC. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gamers young and old, I give you How the Saints Saved Christmas. The final bit of DLC for Saints Row 4, a game where you're a gangster turned president who fights aliens. Don't ask, it's a long story. Set after the main game, it sees the 3rd Street Saints gearing up for the Christmas holidays, but there's a Scrooge in their midst, as the boss, that's your character, expresses how they dislike the Christmas holidays. Also, don't ask why my boss looks like a poor man's Tracer. It's much better than the alternative that I had.
It's disgusting!
After the boss proudly exclaims "fuck Santa," the Saints find themselves in the presence of a cyborg future version of Shaundy. This is Shaundy. She tells the Saints that somebody called Claus has trapped Santa and is coming to our universe to ruin Christmas for everybody. This series used to be about street gangs. What the fuck is happening? The boss begrudgingly agrees to help the rest of the Saints and future Shaundy rescue Santa Claus, stop the evil Claus, and save Christmas for every little boy and girl in the universe. Okay, so the most obvious question on your mind right now is probably, why this? I mean, it's not even a full game. You can finish it in under an hour. What's this got over something like Miles Morales or Arkham Origins? Well, let's take a look at what you actually get in this DLC. For starters, there are 3 missions which are packed to the brim with Christmassy stuff. Mission 1 puts you in a small cozy town covered in thick snow. Decorations are littered all over the streets, and warm lights and an inviting glow. It's got such a great cozy atmosphere that just oozes Christmas everywhere you look. But it's got nothing on Mission 2. Mission 2 takes you to the one and only North Pole. Not only do you have a similar cozy Christmas town as Mission 1, but now with the inclusion of the Northern Lights,
Aurora Borealis!
but you get to enter Santa's bloody workshop, fight alongside the man himself and Mrs. Claus, fire a Christmas-themed dubstep weapon, and be able to kick the shit out of some elves. The final mission puts you in the open world, which has, you guessed it, Christmas decorations everywhere. But the highlight of the mission has to be flying Santa's sleigh. You take this bad boy all over Sealport to deliver presents to the nice kids and airstrike the naughty kids' houses with coal. It does not get any more Christmassy than that. The gameplay is also an absolute blast. Yes, I think Saints Row 4 is a ton of fun to play, and I'm tired of pretending it isn't. Superpowers are nothing short of exhilarating. The way you can seamlessly go from super sprint to jumping high in the air and gliding will never not be an amazing feeling. The variety of powers you have at your disposal will make you feel incredibly powerful, but they don't hog the spotlight away from other aspects of the gameplay, like the arsenal of weapons. Look, I'm a huge Saints Row 1 and 2 purist, and I will die on a hill any day of the week for those games, especially 2, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that Saints Row 4 was an immensely fun time. So that just leaves the last, and arguably most difficult fundamental to achieve. Is the game about Christmas? Well, not only does it manage to pull off this fundamental perfectly, but it's actually the sole reason why I believe that this is the definitive Christmas game. You see, at the beginning, your boss is a typical Scrooge. They hate Christmas, have a grumpy attitude, and doesn't believe in the holidays. But as the game goes along, you start to notice a change. They start to get that Christmas feeling and open up to the ideals it presents, but there's something holding them back. The boss doesn't feel like they're worthy of being on the nice list, given their heavy list of crimes against humanity. But Santa, being the jolly, lovable fat man he is, gives the boss a simple task to turn that around.
The night isn't over yet. Experience the joy of Christmas, not because it will keep me from becoming a god tyrant, but because it feels good to spread joy to strangers and build memories with family and friends. You do that, and I'll put you on the nice list.
Are you sure there's time?
It's Christmas. There's always time for a miracle.
So, they get to work. The DLC ends with the boss fully embracing the Christmas spirit. They have snowball fights, give gifts to their crew, make snow angels, give back to the community, go carol singing, and even recreate that one scene from Love Actually. It's a wholesome way to end the DLC, and one that I think perfectly encapsulates the spirit of Christmas. You see, Christmas isn't about one particular thing. For some people, it's a time for celebration, where we can reflect on the challenges we face but also look to create everlasting memories together. It's a time to show your loved ones how much they mean to you by giving them gifts that they can cherish forever. But I think most importantly, it's a time where kindness reigns supreme. The world can be a cold, depressing place that takes joy in torturing you every step of the way. This year for me especially has made me reflect on a lot of things, like my position in life, the unsure future, my mortality, things that are way too deep for this video. But then comes something like Christmas, and suddenly I'm reminded that no matter what has happened in the past, or what obstacles I might face in the future, I know that one way or another, things can get better. How the Saints Save Christmas may not be the longest game on this list, or even the best, but it's the one that fully embraces the Christmas spirit, by reminding us all that through kindness and love, our deepest wounds can heal. And that is the greatest present any of us can receive. Merry Christmas everybody. Thank you all so much for watching my videos in 2025. It's been a hell of a ride. I've got a lot more stuff planned in 2026, so if you've been subscribed since the dawn of this channel's existence, or if you're new here and seeing this face for the first time, stick around. There's some good stuff coming your way. Anyways, I'm going to cap off this video by slurping this delicious hot chocolate that I just made. Thank you very much for watching. That's too fucking hot.